In this sub-lesson, we are going to define what drill through is, and we're going to set up a drill through page. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get our Power BI desktop file open that's going to support this lesson, and wait a moment. Okay, so with our desktop open here, we're going to create a drill through filter. So essentially what we're going to do is, what we've got is this total sales by product name funnel chart. And what we want to enable a user to do is go to one of these products on the chart here, hover over top of the bar, right click, and then allow them to drill through over to a page that has more detailed information about that particular product. Now, this is one of the many ways inside of Power BI that, in my mind, make it unique, which allow you to set up drill paths so that you can guide people in the direction you want them to go for analytics, and start encouraging more summarization pages like we have here, or overviews, and allow people to move to more detail in other areas of your actual Power BI desktop report. Okay, so what we want to do here first is, let's go through and rename this page here. So right now we can see this is called page number 1. We're going to go through and actually rename that to overview here. So what I'm going to do is just double click on page number 1 there and go ahead and rename it. Okay, so I just double clicked in there and renamed it to overview. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to go to the bottom of the page here, and we're going to click this plus symbol because we want to add a brand new page to this report. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rename this one to product information. So once again, I'm just going to double click in there and rename that one product information. Okay, so what I'm going to do here next to set up this page is I'm actually going to get a page background put in. So I'm going to go, like I did in one of the previous sub-lessons, I'm going to click the format. I'm going to go to page background. I'm going to click the add image button right here. So we'll go ahead and click that and go choose our page background. Okay, so let's go ahead and click that. And we're going to choose background 2 here this time. So go ahead and click open. Same as before, we're going to knock this transparency down to 0. Make the image fit to fit, and now we've got a background in behind the scenes here where we can actually frame our reporting and visualizations a little bit nicer and give it that nice corporate look and standard. Okay, so what we're going to do next here is we are going to go ahead and build ourselves a table on this visualization. So what we'll do here is I'm just going to hover over top of the visualizations pane right here, and let's go ahead and zoom in so we can see exactly what we're going to choose. And we're going to choose this one here called table. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. Once again, we will get a blank visualization that's going to show up on the screen. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to drop it onto the screen like so, and we are just going to go ahead and reposition it to take up pretty much the entire white space there that we have made available. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to start binding some data to this particular visual. So I'm going to go to the fields pane here, and I'm going to pull data out of several tables here. So what I'm going to do first is start off with sales territories, and I'm going to choose the country column. So this time, instead of dragging fields into the values, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start using these checkboxes. So I'm going to go country, and we can see that we have some information showing up here on the screen now. What I want to do next is go to our product table. And in product, I'm going to choose our subcategory, like so. Go ahead and click on that. We'll check on the product name as well. We're going to notice that the product category came along. We don't want that, so we're just going to go ahead and uncheck that box there because we don't want that part of the hierarchy. The next thing we're going to do is go to our order date table, and I want to choose my order date year, like so. All right, so now we've got our years on there. Finally, we're going to go over to our sales table. So we're just going to open this up, and we are going to take a look at our order quantity. So we're going to choose order quantity there, and let's go ahead and choose our total price as well. Okay, so we're starting to see a lot more detail being built up around this table here. So what we're going to do here next is enable our drill through. Okay, so what we're going to do here to enable the drill through is what we're going to do is go to our product table, because keeping in mind what we ultimately want to do is come from the product name on our funnel chart on the overview page and come to this more detailed table of data here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my product name from the product hierarchy. I'm just going to drag it down here to this drill through. So we can see where it says add drill through fields here. I'm just going to drop the product name on there like so. And what we'll also notice is at the very top of the screen, a little back arrow is going to show up. And what that's going to allow us to do is have a user go from one visual and drill through to this information here, and then be able to click that one to go back to the overview page where the navigation had started. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to highlight on that arrow, and I'm just going to move it over to the right hand side of the screen here. So just to kind of move it off to the side here. Okay, that's good. So how about we go ahead and test this functionality? So let's see if we've actually were able to build what we were hoping. So what I want to do here now is I'm going to go over to the overview page. So let's click on the overview page there. And what I had mentioned was we could hover over top of one of these bars in the funnel chart, which are related to a product. And I now should be able to right click on that bar, and I'm going to see a drill through option. And I'm going to be presented with an option to drill through to the product information page. So what I'm going to do is click on that. And what will happen is, given that I clicked on the first bar that said mountain bike 200 black 42 inch, I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And I should be able to come over to the screen here and see a more detailed view in the table of that information. So what we're going to do here next, so we're going to format this table and make it look a little bit nicer, and then put some conditional formatting on top of it as well. So the next exercise is to make this look a little bit nicer. But before we do that, let's actually show you how we can use this control to actually go ahead and move us back to the previous page. So I'm just going to hover over top of that arrow, hit the control key, and I can go back like this. So just like that, I can go from a more summarized view of information down to more detailed view of information. And in my mind, this is one of the first steps in enabling people to start moving away from doing all their analysis using Excel tables only. So this is the first step in starting to show users what is possible with Power BI in terms of how you can change the data navigation experience. So let's go ahead and work on formatting this table to make it look a little nicer. Okay, so let's go through and start formatting this table. So once again, let's make sure the table has focus by clicking a blank area in here, and we're going to see the gray border around the edges here. I'm going to go to my format, and what we want to do here is let's start off first by going to the column headers. So I'm going to open this up here, and what we're going to do first is I'm going to make the text a little bit larger. So let's go ahead and make that 14 like so, so that we've got a little nicer text size there. Okay, so next let's go and choose a background color for our header here. So let's go and maybe choose a nice blue here. So let's go ahead and maybe choose that color right there. Okay, so that's kind of nice, but now our fonts all of a sudden don't show up that well. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a white font like that. So we got ourselves a little nicer background. All right, so the column headers look pretty good. Let's go ahead down to our values here, and maybe we want to change its text size to 14 as well, just so that those values show up a little bit nicer. All right, starting to look a little bit better here now. So let's go ahead and close the values card up. And we want to go ahead and do the same thing on the totals card that we did to the header. So let's go up and we will choose the text size of 14, which is already the default. That's fantastic. So let's go to our background colors. Let's choose this blue here once again that we chose before, and change our font color to white. Okay, so we've got a table that is actually looking a little nicer from a formatting perspective. So what I'm going to do here too is I'm actually just going to start moving some of these columns over just a little bit to take up some of this space and make this look a little bit neater and cleaner here. So we can go ahead and start moving some of these over here. So let's actually move them this way first. So I should really be starting from this direction here. So let's go to the country, maybe move the product subcategory over just a little bit here. We'll move the product name over to give it a little bit more space in case we have longer product names with some of the other ones. We'll take our order date year and move it over like so, and like that. Okay, perfect. So our visual is actually starting to look a little bit nicer. So what we're going to work on next here is some conditional formatting of the values on this particular table to give us some additional information. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our conditional formatting here now. So what I'm going to do here is close our total cards up and just ensure that the table visual still has focus, which we can see it does. And what we're going to do here next is we're going to move down over to the format pane, and let's go ahead and go to the style card here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the style, and we're going to change this to alternating rows. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops, now we can see that we've got our alternating rows set up. That's not something we want. Just wanted to go ahead and show you can do that. And let's just go ahead and revert ourselves. What I'm going to do this time, instead of reverting to default, is just click the undo last action. So once again, showing you that we can go through the undo action here on the Power BI desktop, keeping in mind on the Power Query Editor we couldn't do that. Okay, so that is good. So we'll just keep our styles the way they are set here. And what I want to do here is let's just scroll down a little further and go to our conditional formatting card. So let's go ahead and open that up. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to conditional format based on the total sales. So let's go ahead and click that. And we're going to go ahead and choose total sales. We're going to see that a few other options came available here in this formatting card. And what we want to do here is then go down and turn the icon slider on. So we're going to go ahead and turn this one on. So what we're going to do here is enable icons to be used when we're actually doing our conditional formatting. And we can see here already that this is starting to get a little tight from a real estate perspective. So let's go ahead and move some of these fields over here. So let's just go ahead and do this like so. And we don't mind if these wrap around a little bit like this. Let's go and do that. And maybe we'll do the same thing on our order date years. So let's just go ahead and maybe make that wrap a little bit there too, and give ourselves a little bit more room here for the total sales, because we're going to be doing some formatting with it. Alrighty, so this is once again part of the tweaking and tuning that we're doing to our reports as we go. So let's dive into the conditional formatting here now. Okay, so after I went and turned the icon slider on, I can see that there is an advanced controls button right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, or a link I should say. And what that's going to do is bring up the conditional formatting dialog box. Okay, so let's go ahead and start formatting this. So we're going to leave our format by rules. So we could do it by field value or rules. We're going to apply it to values only. There's a few other options we have in here. We're going to do it based on the total sales field, which is what we chose when we came in here. And next what we'll do is go ahead and choose our icon layout. Let's actually move it to the right-hand side. So let's just go move it to the right of the data. Let's then go ahead and leave the icon alignment to the top, and these styles look just fine. So the nice thing about using icons in these colors here is this actually helps out the accessible community by allowing people that are colorblind to go ahead and use the shapes to actually help determine what is happening here in the conditional formatting versus just the colors. Okay, so let's go ahead and start formatting this. Okay, so we're going to go through and start formatting these values here. So I'm going to say if the value is greater than or equal to 0, and I'm going to change this from percent to a number here. So let's go ahead and choose numbers here, because I'm going to actually hard code all of this in here. And I'm going to say anytime it is between 0 and less than or equal to, let's just go ahead and choose 500,000 here. So let's just type in 500,000, 1, 2, 3. What I'm going to do here is then choose this to be a number. We want those ones to be red. And then whenever we have something that is greater than or equal to 500,001, what we're going to do is choose number here. And I'm going to say less than or equal to 1 million. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'd like to go ahead and count that stuff out. We're going to go ahead and choose number. That will show up as yellow. And whenever we are greater than or equal to 1,000,001, like so, we then also choose that to be a number. And what we can do here is, let's go ahead and make this the maximum. So what I'm going to do here is choose a number here, and I'm going to get rid of that value here. And what that'll say is go to the maximum. So anything that is greater than or equal to 1,000,001 is going to get green. Okay, so I've got everything formatted the way I want. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now we can see that the formatting has changed. So anything here that is in the 500,000 to 1 million range is given the yellow. Anything over 1 million is given green. Anything below 500,000 is given the red diamond. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do on this page here is let's format this back button here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. We're going to see the format button. Format cards come up here. What we're going to do is go down to the background card right here, And what we're going to do is we're going to set the transparency to 100%. So when we do that, we're going to notice that it just matches the background of the actual visual itself. So now we actually have something that looks a little bit more neat and clean and matches the actual visuals themselves. So I'm just going to move that a little bit here. And let's go ahead and reposition this. It's always kind of tricky to go ahead and grab onto, like so that we have our back button right about there. Okay, perfect. So we have this visual looking exactly the way we want it. So let's just go ahead and save our work here, like so. All right, so that's pretty much it. So that takes us to the end of the sub lesson here on creating drill throughs. And as I mentioned right off the hop here, drill throughs are fantastic because they really do start enabling you to change the way people interact and consume information. Now this is just the first step in that process, but this is certainly a good step in that journey towards changing the way people view their information.